If you run a physical therapy clinic and you're posting on Instagram, which by the way, if you're not posting on Instagram, then what are you doing? You need to be. Well, if you do that, your videos from Instagram could start showing up on page 1 of Google. Yes, you heard that right. Your Instagram Reels, they could be on Google. This is something that was never even a thought, a possibility beforehand. Google really just would index website content and YouTube content, and that was really it. So the thought of Google taking content from other platforms like Meta, it's a really big shift. And what I'm going to do today in this podcast is I'm going to tell you what's going on and how to take advantage of this before everybody else starts to figure this out. So on July 10th, Instagram started letting search engines index public content from professional accounts. So what does that mean? That means that your reels, your photos, your carousels, they can all show up in Google results. And Google's already testing this, to be honest with you. They're testing video carousels from Instagram. So, for example, if somebody searches best physical therapist for back pain in Austin, Texas, an Instagram video might rank above websites. So, all those blue links that show up on page 1, there might be Instagram videos there instead. And for me, if you ask me, like, this isn't just a trend, this is a fundamental shift on how people are going to find businesses like yours, especially local service-based businesses. So we know that platforms like YouTube have become one of the biggest search engines out there. And that's not really a surprise because Google owns YouTube. Okay. And, not only are people searching on YouTube, but Google also uses YouTube content on page 1 to figure out where to rank that business. And again, like that totally makes sense because Google owns YouTube and they're one and the same. So it would make sense that Google would show YouTube videos and leverage YouTube as a search engine to figure out credibility for businesses. So what I mean there is the more you post on YouTube and the more SEO optimized your YouTube videos are, then the more likely you are to be on page 1. But now Instagram is in that game as well. In fact, in a recent podcast that Instagram CEO that he did, he basically said that we're improving search and making content more discoverable on Google. So they're going to improve search internally inside of Instagram, and then they're going to make all of those videos that are being posted on Instagram discoverable on Google. This is super intentional, okay? And if you're a clinic, you're posting exercise tips about how to get out of back pain, maybe a day in your life in your city, et cetera, et cetera. That stuff can now drive search traffic for you. Instead of just building brand equity, which really is what Instagram is doing for you, is more of a trust signal. This is going to be a real SEO strategy from social media, which is kind of awesome. So what do you need to do? How do you take advantage of this? Let's get as tactical as possible here and let's break this thing down. The first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that your account is set up correctly on Instagram to index in Google. So you need to have a pro account for these. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, but you want to see actually how to do this and me walking through it, head on over to the YouTube channel. There'll be a video there of me walking through it. And basically what you do is you go into your Instagram account and you're going to go into the settings tab. And once you're in that settings tab, you can scroll down and you can find the part where it says account privacy. And it should say public on there. But if you hit that account privacy, what you're going to see now is there's going to be a toggle that says allow public photos and videos to appear in search engine results. This automatically is enabled and turned on, but you want to just make sure that it's on there because if it's off, then you're not going to be able to show. And like you can see here on the video, it says when this is on, search engines like Google can show your public photos and videos and search results outside of Instagram. This is literally telling us that Google can now use this to show in their own algorithm, which is just a huge shift. And it's super, super important to understand this and make sure this is turned on. So make sure you go into your Instagram account and make sure all that stuff is turned on. So now that that's turned on, what do you need to do to get your post to actually rank and show up? There's got to be some sort of algorithm to this, right? Correct. Of course there is. The number one thing that you can do is you need to make sure that you're using keywords in your captions. So now that we're able to rank, you got to create a post. And once you have your post edited and you have to create a caption. This is all pretty basic stuff here. And you listen, it's not about writing something cute or clever in that caption anymore. If you want your videos to show up on and inside of Google, captions should either be location based or question based, or to be honest with you, ideally both. So let's break that down. A location based caption means including your city or area in the caption, like, three stretches I give every runner who comes into our clinic here in Austin. Or if you live in Denver and deal with low back pain, this one's for you. So, why would we want to put something like that together? Because when somebody Googles best physical therapist near me, or even physical therapist in Charleston, Google is starting to index those Instagram captions for local relevance. So this is local SEO 101, but instead of it being for your website or your Google business profile, it's now for your Instagram reels. So that's location based, right? That should make sense. The other part of your caption can be question-based captions, okay? So that means structuring your caption like it answers something that somebody would search or ask for. So think about something like, what should I do when I wake up with shoulder pain? Or is dry needling safe for knee pain? Or why does my neck hurt after I deadlift? These help your content show up in the quote-unquote people also ask sections of Google or the AI overviews that it's starting to roll out, because it looks like you're answering something with real search intent, and people want those questions answered with videos more often than not, okay? So when you're writing a caption, ask yourself, would somebody in my city Google this, or does this answer a question that my clients ask me all the time? That's the sweet spot, right? This should be short, it should be searchable, and it should be strategic, because let's be honest, people aren't really reading those captions, but if Google is, then we want to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to please Google. The next thing that you can do, and this is a brand new feature for an Instagram post, is you can set alt text for post, okay? So before you hit share, there's another thing that you're gonna wanna do. Again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, definitely go over and watch on the YouTube channel. And basically what you can do here is that when you go into an Instagram post, and before you post it, there's gonna be something there that says alt text to it. Think about, this is like a basic SEO function as well. For any photo on your website, you can set what are called alt text for all of those photos. Okay, so this is what Google's not really looking at the photo and seeing how pretty the photo is. It's really reading the alt text in the background of that picture to understand what that photo actually is. So now Google's going to do the same thing with your Instagram photos. Again, you might have a really beautifully edited photo on your IG page, but what Google's going to be actually reading is going to be those alt text in the background. So you can go into your photo and you can add the alt text. And again, the alt text is going to tell Google and Instagram what your video or photo is about. So you want to use keywords, you want to be specific. So physical therapist in Nashville demonstrating dry needling, physical therapist in Boston working with athletes. Same sort of thing with the caption here. You're going to want to make sure that your keywords are included in these alt texts. You can also go back to old posts as well. If you go in, you hit the three little dots on the post, you go to edit post, and then you hit the alt text. You can add in the alt text for alt posts you can add in the alt text for old posts as well. Again, super important. And this is just all so brand new that, this is what we're seeing is working right now. So you're going to want to make sure that you're adding in those alt texts just to make sure that you're doing everything you can to please Google to get your Instagram post to show up. The last thing you can do is adding location-based tags. This is something that has always been a part of Instagram. This is always something that you're able to do. What you want to do when you're adding location is you can go, and when you're adding the location, you can click on that location and just see how many posts are showing up for that. You're going to want to choose some of those posts that have a lot of actual activity with it. Okay. So if I go in and I create an Instagram post and I set the location as Portland, Maine, as you can see here, again, if you're watching on YouTube, the Portland, Maine, there's also Portland, downtown or Portland headlight, or there's lots of different Portland-based things that I could be adding there. You're going to want to use the one that has the most traffic or has the most local relevance. So this is a really important thing to look into and just do a little bit of research, because then when you can figure it out, then you can replicate that over time. But you're going to want to make sure with every single post that you're putting up there, you're adding that location to whatever city, town, neighborhood that you're in, because that's just going to push that content out more, not only on Instagram itself, but obviously on Google as well. So really important to make sure you're doing that. And kind of what we're seeing so far here is with real world examples of how Google is using some of these Instagram videos, we're really not seeing it too much on the local or the question-based side just yet. I do expect that to come in the next month or so. So if somebody is searching for Portland physical therapy, it's still a lot of Google Maps, Google Business Profile, paid ads, and then the blue links at the bottom. So really that local SEO. But I do expect them to start adding in some of these videos here, or else why would they be doing this? But for now, anything location-based, and then the question-based as well. Anything like those AI snippets that's, the people also ask, what's the best physical therapist in Portland, Maine? And that's still referencing website pages. So that is still the most important thing that you can do. And I do think that's going to be for a while. So making sure that you're posting on YouTube, creating new pages on your website, very, very important. But where we are seeing Instagram and Facebook videos already being indexed is for brand terms. So if somebody types in your physical therapy clinic's name, and you can see on the right sidebar that your Google Business Profile shows up, but then it's also taking a lot of your Instagram and your Meta post too. So this is just giving you a little bit more real estate on page 1 of Google, which is at the end of the day all we're looking for here. And if you have a bunch of videos here, they're high production, they're quality, they're, providing value for the potential patient. This is a really easy way to build that brand trust and get somebody to come in with you. All right. So again, I think that we're very early in this, and, pretty much nobody is optimizing their Instagram for Google content just yet. So I think this is a good thing. That means there's zero saturation, it's super low competition, and it's a massive opportunity for early adopters, much like local SEO, a lot of what I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. So if you jump on this now, you can dominate your local market before everyone else catches on. Kind of feels like what SEO did back in the, early, 2015 era. So when people, that was back when people who wrote, a couple blogs a month, they started ranking for everything basically. I think now it's kind of that same game, but it's playing out on Instagram. And listen, if you want the full playbook, I'm going to continue looking into this and updating all the stuff of how do I get the playbook of how do I get my Instagram videos to show up on Google. I put together a step-by-step document. It's a living document that I'm going to continue updating to break all this stuff down. So what you need to do, where you need to click, the most recent updates on side of Instagram, how to write better captions, alt text, all of the live information that we're going to be finding out, I'm going to update in this document. I'm giving it away completely for free, but there is a catch to it, okay? I'm going to have a little bit of an ask for you guys. You've got to go to our YouTube channel. So this is the Patch YouTube channel. You got to leave a comment. That's his Instagram Google Doc. You've got to subscribe to the channel because we can see who subscribed and not. And once you do, I'll DM it over to you directly. Super simple. It's kind of a handshake agreement between us of, all right, I'm going to give you this doc, subscribe to the channel. And, I put a lot of time and effort. I basically spent my whole Saturday researching how Google is using these Instagram videos. And I do think this is going to be super, super important. So you're going to want to grab this document. I'm going to continue updating it. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Things are changing quickly, which is super fun. And, I think if you're a small cash-based clinic, you have the ability to stay very agile and make these changes, unlike some of the bigger chains. This is a really exciting time for smaller clinics. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll talk to you guys later.